I stared at my phone, reading the text for the third time. A complete stranger, some kid I'd never met, had just asked me what time dinner was, like we'd been planning this for months. My husband Larry looked over my shoulder and laughed. Lynn, who is that? Here's the thing about that moment. I had no idea I was about to make a decision that would change my life for the next 10 years. No idea that one response would turn into a viral sensation, a friendship that would carry me through my darkest days, and a tradition that would redefine what family actually means. But in November 2016, all I knew was this. I'd sent a group text to my grandkids about Thanksgiving dinner, complete with the address and my famous pecan pie promise. Except I'd typed one digit wrong. And instead of reaching my grandson, it landed in the phone of a 16-year-old kid named Devon who had absolutely zero connection to me. His response? I think you have the wrong number. But hey, what time should I be there? LOL. I'm Linda. I'm 62 years old. And this is the story of how a wrong number became the right thing. Now, before I tell you what happened next, if you've ever had a moment where a complete stranger became more than just a face in the crowd, hit that like button and subscribe because trust me, this story gets wild. Comment below where you're watching from and if you believe in coincidences or fate. Turn on notifications. You'll want to catch every story we drop. All right, back to that text message that changed everything. My name is Linda Carmichael, and before all this happened, I was just your average suburban Arizona grandma. I had my routines. Church on Sundays, book club on Tuesdays, grocery shopping at Fry's on Thursdays. My husband Larry and I had been married for 43 years. We raised 2 kids, Jennifer and Michael, and had 4 grandkids who were the absolute light of our lives. I wasn't tech savvy. Larry always teased me about it. Len, you hold your phone like it's going to explode, he'd say. But I tried. I really did. I learned to text because the grandkids said nobody answers calls anymore. I joined Facebook to see their photos. I even figured out how to send those little emoji things, though I never quite understood why a thumbs up could mean both yes and I'm too busy to respond properly. November 2016. The election had just happened. The country felt tense, divided. Everyone at church was either celebrating or devastated, and nobody wanted to talk about it at potluck anymore. Larry and I tried to stay out of it. We just wanted to have a nice, normal Thanksgiving with family. So I did what I did every year. I sent out a group text with the details. Thanksgiving at our place, Thursday, November 24th, 2:30 p.m. Come hungry. I'm making my pecan pie. I even added a photo of our dining room table from last year, already set and decorated with those little turkey candles I'd collected over the decades. I hit send. Within minutes, the responses started rolling in. Jennifer, can't wait, Mom, heart. Michael, we'll bring the wine, red or white. My grandson Tyler, can I bring my girlfriend? And then one more text. Hey, I think you might have the wrong number. I squinted at my phone. The number wasn't saved in my contacts. I figured maybe it was Tyler's girlfriend, someone I hadn't met yet. Sorry, who is this? I typed back. A few seconds passed. Then, this is Devon. You just invited me to Thanksgiving, but I don't think we know each other. LOL. That's when it hit me. I'd sent the text to the wrong number. I felt my face flush with embarrassment, but before I could figure out how to respond, another text came through. But yo, if the invite's real, I'm not gonna lie, that pie sounds good. LOL. I stared at those words. And then, without even thinking about it, I started typing. Well, the invite is real, and there's always room for one more. You're welcome to join us if you'd like. I added a smiley face and hit send before I could second guess myself. Larry walked into the kitchen just as I was staring at the screen waiting for a response. What's got you so focused over there? I just invited a complete stranger to Thanksgiving, I said slowly. You what now? I sent the group text to the wrong number. Some kid named Devon, and I told him he could come. Larry looked at me like I'd sprouted a second head. Then he started laughing, that deep belly laugh that always made me laugh too. Linda Carmichael, in all our years together, you never ceased to surprise me. What'd he say? My phone buzzed. We both looked down. For real? You're serious? I typed back, completely serious. 2:30 p.m., bring an appetite. There was a longer pause this time. Then, okay. Wow. Thank you. I'll be there. Larry shook his head, still grinning. Huh. Well, this'll either be the best Thanksgiving story we ever tell or the weirdest. Guess we'll find out. Here's where I need you to understand something about me. I grew up in a house where we didn't turn people away. My mama used to say, empty chairs are just opportunities waiting to be filled. She'd had a hard life, grew up poor in rural Oklahoma, lost her daddy when she was 12, watched her mama work 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. But she never let that make her bitter. She taught me that kindness doesn't cost a thing, and sometimes the smallest gesture can mean the world to someone. So when I looked at that text exchange with this stranger, this kid who seemed genuinely surprised that someone would welcome him, I didn't question my decision. It just felt right. Famous last words. For the next 3 days, I didn't think much about it. Larry mentioned it to our kids, and they had mixed reactions. Jennifer thought it was sweet, but concerning. Mom, what if he's dangerous? You don't know anything about him. Oh, stop it, I said. He's just a kid who probably doesn't have anywhere else to go. Michael was more blunt. Mom, this is how horror movies start. Then I guess you better come early to protect me, I shot back. But deep down, as Thanksgiving morning arrived, I started to wonder if they were right to be worried. What did I actually know about this Devon kid? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He could be anyone. I pushed the thoughts away and focused on cooking. Turkey in the oven by 7 a.m., mashed potatoes, green bean casara, cranberry sauce, homemade, not canned. I have standards. Sweet potato pie, and, of course, my pecan pie. The house smelled like butter and cinnamon and everything good in the world. Larry was watching football in the living room. The grandkids arrived around noon to help set the table. Tyler brought his girlfriend, Jess, who seemed terrified of making a bad impression. Becca, my youngest granddaughter, kept stealing marshmallows from the sweet potato dish. Everything felt normal. And then, at exactly 2:25 p.m., my phone buzzed. Hey, it's Devon. I'm about 10 minutes away. Is it cool if I park on the street? My heart started racing. He was really coming. This wasn't a joke. A complete stranger was about to walk through my door. Of course, see you soon, I typed back, trying to sound calmer than I felt. Mom, Jennifer called from the dining room, did he confirm? He'll be here in 10 minutes. The room went silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked at me. Okay, Michael said, standing up and stretching like he was preparing for battle. I'll answer the door with you, just in case. In case of what, I asked. In case he's a serial killer, Linda. Let the man do his job, Larry called from the couch. At 2:27 p.m., there was a knock at the door. My hands were shaking as I walked to the entryway. Michael stood beside me, looking far more serious than necessary. I took a deep breath and opened the door. There he was, Devon. Tall, maybe 6 feet, skinny in that teenage boy way where they haven't quite grown into their limbs yet. Dark skin, bright brown eyes, wearing a button-down shirt that looked freshly ironed and jeans that were probably his nice jeans. In his hands, he held a box of store-bought cookies and a card. "Hi," he said, and I could hear the nervousness in his voice. "I'm Devon. I'm the wrong number." Behind him, I could see a beat-up Toyota Camry parked at the curb, the kind of car a high school kid drives when they're just grateful to have wheels. "Devon!" I said, pulling the door open wider. Come in, come in. Oh, you brought cookies. How thoughtful." He stepped inside, and I could feel Michael sizing him up like a Secret Service agent. Devon noticed and gave an awkward wave. "Hey, man." "Hey," Michael said, his voice flat. "Michael, go get your father," I said pointedly. "Devon, come meet everyone." I led him into the living room where the whole family had gathered, all of them staring like Devon was a zoo exhibit. Larry stood up from his recliner, and I watched as he extended his hand with that warm, easy smile he'd perfected over 4 decades of making people feel comfortable. "Devon, I'm Larry, Linda's husband. Thanks for taking a chance on us." Devon shook his hand, some of the tension leaving his shoulders. "Thanks for letting me crash your holiday, sir. I really appreciate it." "Sir?" Larry laughed. "You're making me feel old. Call me Larry." Tyler broke the ice next. "Dude, this is the coolest story ever. My grandma literally invited a random person to Thanksgiving. That's legendary." Devon laughed, a real, genuine laugh. "Honestly, when I got the text, I thought it was a prank. I almost didn't come." "What made you come?" Jennifer asked, her mama bear protective instincts still on high alert. Devon's expression shifted, became more serious. I didn't really have other plans. My mom's working a double at the hospital. She's a nurse. And my little sister's with her dad's family this year. It was going to be me and a frozen pizza. So when your mom said I could come, he trailed off looking at me. I figured, why not, you know? Worst case, I had to have a weird story to tell. The room softened. I could see it in everyone's faces. The moment they stopped seeing him as a stranger and started seeing him as just a kid who needed somewhere to be on Thanksgiving. "Well," I said, "I'm glad you're here. Let's eat." We all sat down at the table. Devon ended up between Tyler and Larry, and I watched as he loaded up his plate with everything. Turkey, stuffing, potatoes, the works. He ate like he hadn't seen a home-cooked meal in months, which broke my heart a little. "So, Devon," Larry said, passing him the gravy, "tell us about yourself. You go to school around here?" "Yeah, I'm a junior at Sunrise Mountain High. I'm on the basketball team. Well, barely. I mostly read the bench, but I'm on the team." "What position?" Tyler asked. "Guard. I'm quick, but I'm not tall enough to compete with the guys who actually play." They started talking basketball, and I watched as Devon relaxed more and more. He joked with the kids, complimented Jennifer's cooking, even though I did most of it, and helped clear plates without being asked. After dinner, while everyone was watching football and falling into food comas, Devon found me in the kitchen washing dishes. "Mrs. Carmichael?" he said quietly. "Call me Linda, honey." "Linda," he corrected. "I just wanted to say thank you. For real. This was the nicest thing anyone's done for me in a long time." I stopped scrubbing and looked at him. Really looked at him. And I saw something in his eyes, a loneliness I recognized. A hunger for connection that went deeper than the Thanksgiving meal. "Devon, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Why'd you really come today? I mean, I'm glad you did, but most kids your age wouldn't accept an invitation from a stranger." He was quiet for a moment, drying a plate with the dish towel. "My dad left when I was 9. Just gone one day. And my mom, she works all the time to keep us afloat. I love her, but we don't really do holidays anymore. It's just too hard. So when you invited me, it felt like I don't know, like maybe I could have that feeling again, that family feeling? My eyes filled with tears. Oh, sweetheart, he said quickly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make it weird. You didn't make anything weird, I said firmly. And I want you to know, you're welcome here anytime. Not just Thanksgiving. Anytime. He looked at me like I had just handed him a winning lottery ticket. Really? Really. After that first Thanksgiving, I expected that to be the end of it. A sweet story we'd tell at parties. But then, Devon started texting me. Not constantly, but every couple of weeks. Hey, Mrs. Linda. He never could bring himself to drop the misses. Just wanted to say hi. Or, I got a B+ on my chemistry test. Or, do you know how to get grass stains out of white shirts? Long story. And I'd text back. I'd send him recipes when he asked. I'd congratulate him on his grades. I'd give him advice about everything from school drama to college applications to how to talk to girls, which Larry found hilarious. It became natural, easy, like he'd always been part of my life. Larry loved it. You collected yourself a bonus grandson, he'd say, grinning. That's so you, Lynn. The months passed, spring, summer, fall, and then in October 2017, Devon texted, so, you doing Thanksgiving again this year? I didn't even hesitate. You bet. You coming? If you'll have me. Always. Thanksgiving 2017. Devon showed up with a homemade sweet potato pie he'd made himself. I found a recipe online, he said proudly. I have no idea if it's good. It was terrible. Underbaked, way too much cinnamon, the crust was soggy. We ate it anyway, and told him it was delicious. This time, he fit in even better. Tyler and him had become actual friends, texting outside of holidays. Becca drew him a picture of a turkey that he said he'd frame. Michael shook his hand and said, "Good to see you again, man." After dinner, Larry pulled Devon aside. I watched from the kitchen as they stood on the back patio, talking. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I saw Larry's hand on Devon's shoulder, saw Devon nodding, saw something pass between them that looked like the kind of moment a father and son might share. When they came back inside, Larry had tears in his eyes. "What'd you guys talk about?" I asked later that night. He asked me about college, Larry said. Said his mom can't afford it and he doesn't know how to make it work. I told him we'd help him figure it out. Kid's smart, Lynn. Really smart. He just needs someone to believe in him. So we'll believe in him, I said. Yeah, Larry agreed. We will. By 2018, Devon was coming around more often. Sunday dinners became a regular thing. He'd show up with his homework, park himself at our kitchen table, and Larry would help him with math while I made pot roast. Sometimes he'd bring his little sister Amara, who was 12 and shy and absolutely adored Larry. My grandkids loved having him around. He wasn't just Grandma's friend anymore. He was part of the family. He came to Tyler's graduation party. He helped Michael move into a new house. He even came to my book club once when we were discussing The Hate You Give, because I thought his perspective would be valuable. He was the only person under 60 in the room and handled the attention like a champ. People in our lives started asking questions. Who's that kid you're always with? Neighbors would say. Or, is that your grandson? And I'd always answer the same way. That's Devon. He's family. Because he was. But here's the thing about life. Just when you think you've got it figured out, just when everything feels steady and good, something comes along to remind you that nothing is permanent. In March of 2019, Larry started feeling off. He'd come home from his morning walks winded, like he'd run a marathon instead of walked 2 miles. He'd sit down for dinner and barely eat. He'd fall asleep watching TV at 7 p.m. Larry, you need to see a doctor, I kept saying. I'm fine, Lynn, he'd insist. Just getting old. But he wasn't fine. By May, he'd lost 15 pounds. His skin looked gray. He could barely make it for a Sunday dinner without needing to lie down. I made an appointment with our doctor and practically dragged him there. They ran tests, blood work, scans, more tests. And then on a Thursday afternoon in late May, we sat in an office with diplomas on the wall and listened as a doctor told us that Larry had advanced pancreatic cancer. Stage 4, inoperable. 6 to 12 months if we were lucky. I don't remember leaving the hospital. I don't remember driving home. All I remember is sitting in our living room, holding Larry's hand, and feeling like the ground had disappeared beneath me. We told the kids that weekend. There were tears. So many tears. Jennifer couldn't stop crying. Michael kept asking about treatment options, clinical trials, anything. But the truth was clear. This wasn't the kind of cancer you beat. This was the kind that steals the person you love, piece by piece, until there's nothing left. I texted Devon on Sunday night. Just a simple message. Larry's sick. It's serious. I wanted you to know. He called me 30 seconds later. How serious? Terminal, I said, and saying the word out loud made it real in a way it hadn't been before. Devon was quiet for a long time. Then, can I come see you guys? You don't have to. I want to. Please. He showed up the next day after school, still in his basketball practice clothes. He walked into our living room where Larry was resting on the couch, looking smaller and frailer than he had just weeks before. "Hey, Mr. Larry," Devon said, his voice cracking. "Hey, kiddo," Larry said, smiling despite everything. "You didn't have to come all the way over here." "Yeah, I did." Devon sat with him for 2 hours. They watched SportsCenter, talked about the NBA playoffs, argued about whether LeBron or Jordan was the GOAT. Normal stuff. Easy stuff. The kind of stuff that makes you forget, just for a moment, that the world is falling apart. When Devon left, he hugged me tight. "I'm here, Mrs. Linda. Whatever you need, I'm here." The next 6 months were the hardest of my life. Larry declined fast. The chemo made him sick, but didn't slow the cancer. He lost more weight, lost his hair, lost his strength. Some days he couldn't get out of bed. Some days he didn't recognize me. Jennifer and Michael took turns staying with us. The grandkids visited when they could, but it was hard for them, watching someone they loved disappear. Devon came by twice a week, like clockwork, Tuesdays and Saturdays. He'd bring groceries, help with yard work, sit with Larry when I needed to shower or cry or just breathe for 5 minutes. He never complained, never made it about him. He was just there. One Saturday in early November, I was sitting on the porch, staring at nothing, when Devon sat down beside me. "You doing okay?" he asked. I laughed, a bitter, broken sound. "No, I'm not. I don't know how to do this, Devon. I don't know how to watch him die." Devon didn't try to fix it. Didn't offer empty platitudes. He just sat there with me in the silence. And then he said, "My grandma died when I was 14. Cancer too. And I remember my mom telling me that loving someone means holding on tight even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. So that's what you do. You hold on. And when it's time to let go, you do that too." I looked at this 20-year-old kid who'd walked into my life by accident and somehow become one of the most important people in it. "When did you get so wise?" He shrugged. "I learned from you." Larry passed away on November 18th, 2019, a week before Thanksgiving. The funeral was packed. Friends, family, coworkers, church members. Everyone had a story about Larry. His kindness, his laugh, his terrible dad jokes that he thought were hilarious. Devon sat with my family in the front row. He cried through the entire service. When it was over, he hugged me and whispered, "He was like a dad to me. I hope you know that." "I know. And he loved you like a son." After the funeral, I didn't want to do Thanksgiving. The thought of sitting at the table without Larry felt impossible. The kids agreed. We can skip it this year, Mom, Jennifer said gently. Nobody expects you to host. But then Devon called. Hey, Mrs. Linda, I know this is a hard ask, but I think we should still do Thanksgiving. Not because it'll be fun. It won't be. But because Mr. Larry loved that day. He loved having everyone together. And I think he'd want us to keep going. My throat tightened. Devon, I don't know if I can do this. You don't have to do it alone, he said. I'll cook. I'll help. We'll do it together. But I think we need this. I think you need this. Thanksgiving 2019 was the quietest, saddest Thanksgiving we'd ever had. But we did it. Devon came early and helped me prep. We didn't talk much, just worked side by side in the kitchen, the way Larry and I used to. The family arrived. We set Larry's place at the table. His chair sat empty, a painful reminder of who was missing. Before we ate, Devon stood up. His voice shook. I know I'm not family by blood, but you all have been my family for 3 years. And Mr. Larry, he was one of the best men I've ever known. He never treated me like an outsider. He treated me like I mattered. And I'll carry that with me forever. There wasn't a dry eye at the table. We toasted Larry, shared stories, laughed through tears. And slowly, painfully, we started to heal. The years kept moving forward, the way they always do. 2020 brought the pandemic. We couldn't gather in person, so Devon and I did a Zoom Thanksgiving. It wasn't the same, but it was something. We cooked in our separate kitchens, screens propped up on counters, and ate together across the digital divide. 2021, we were back in person. Devon had graduated from Arizona State with a degree in social work. I want to help kids like me, kids who need someone to believe in them. I was so proud, I ugly cried. 2022, Devon brought his girlfriend Shanice to Thanksgiving. She was sweet, smart, studying to be a teacher. They'd met in college. Watching him with her, seeing him happy and loved, filled a place in my heart I didn't know was empty. 2023 hit me hard. I found a lump in my breast during a routine self-exam. Mammogram, biopsy, diagnosis. Breast cancer, stage 2. Treatable, but scary as hell. Devon was there for every appointment, every chemo session, every moment I wanted to give up. He'd sit with me in those sterile hospital rooms, cracking jokes, bringing me smoothies, reminding me that I had survived worse. You were there for me, he said when I tried to tell him he didn't have to do this. Now I'm here for you. That's how family works. By December, I was in remission. Thanksgiving 2024 felt like a celebration of survival. Somewhere along the way, our story got out. Someone posted about us on social media, the grandma and the wrong number, and suddenly we were everywhere. News articles, morning shows, viral videos. People called us inspirational, a symbol of hope. Devon and I started doing speaking engagements together, talking about kindness, connection, the idea that family is what you make it. We even launched a small initiative, partnering with local food banks to provide Thanksgiving meals to families in need. It wasn't about fame. It was about passing forward what we'd been given. This year, November 2025, marks 10 years since that first wrong number text. A decade since a mistake became a miracle. Devon is 26 now. He works with at-risk youth, giving them the kind of support he wishes he'd had growing up. He and Shanice got engaged last spring. They're planning a summer wedding, and he's already asked me to sit in the mother of the groom section. You're the closest thing I have to a mom who was always there, he told me. It's where you belong. My family is grown. More grandkids, Tyler got married, Becca's in grad school. Life keeps happening the way it does. And through it all, Devon has been there. People still ask me, do you ever regret sending that text to the wrong number? Regret it? That text was the best mistake I ever made. Because here's what I learned over these 10 years. Family isn't about biology. It's about showing up. It's about saying yes when the easy answer is no. It's about making space at your table for people who need a place to belong. Larry used to say, sometimes the universe has a plan we can't see yet. I didn't always believe him, but now? Now I know he was right. Devon wasn't supposed to get that text, but he did. And because of one random, ridiculous mistake, 2 lives changed forever. This Thanksgiving, as I set the table for my family, blood and chosen, I'll put out the good china. I'll make my pecan pie. I'll save the seat at the head of the table for Larry, who I still miss every single day. And I'll make sure there's a seat for Devon, right next to me, where he sat for 10 years. Because sometimes the wrong number is exactly the right one. Sometimes strangers become family. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, a simple act of kindness can change everything. If this story reminded you that good people still exist, hit that like button. Subscribe so you never miss these real stories about real people doing extraordinary things. Drop a comment. Have you ever had a stranger change your life? Or maybe you were that stranger for someone else. I want to hear about it. Turn on notifications because every week we're bringing you stories that prove kindness isn't dead. It's just waiting for someone to say yes. Thanks for being here. And remember, there's always room at the table for one more.